Surveying, fires, that's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Open Book here on Game On Wisconsin. I am Eli Berkovitz here with Zach Jacobson, as always. How you doing, Zach?
I'm good, man. It's going. Things are going. Yeah. Wednesday. Yeah, today's flown by.
We got Jacob, our fearless leader, unfortunately, reporting live from quarantine. Yeah, I think Jacob's a bit under the weather. Let's keep him I'll keep him in mind as he reports from quarantine. But
rest in peace, Boza. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Jacob. I love you.
But yeah, so today's Wednesday, so it's been almost basically a week since the Packers have played. It feels like a lot longer, honestly, to me. But today was the first time we got to see a real practice report for the week, and coming off last week, and a lot of big names to keep an eye on. And I think the two biggest, we spoke just before the show, David Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones both returned to practice in full today, which is huge for this team. Obviously, Aaron Jones played last week, but it was in limited fashion, off limited practice, and Bakhtiari didn't play. So, Zach, how do you think, even going up against the Jags, having Jones at full strength and Bakhtiari back on the line, what it will do for this offense? And also, I guess, how are they going to align the 5 offensive linemen now that Bakhtiari is back?
Well, now that Bakhtiari is back, I think you're going to be able to see kind of Billy Turner slide back to right tackle from that left tackle spot. You'll see Bakhtiari kind of shift back into his normal spot on the blind side. And this is perfect timing too, because, now Rick Wagner's out with his own injury.
Yeah.
So, that the flexibility they have in their depth of their offensive line, that kind of takes a hit. So, the flexibility and the versatility of the offensive line, and just some of the guys that they have and filling in at multiple spots, and the fact that Aaron Rodgers has only been sacked 9 times this season, he hasn't even hit double digits through 8 games. I mean, that can't be understated. I think that's what the alignment will be going in up against Jacksonville. I think they were way better equipped to handle Bakhtiari's absence than I think they were getting through without Aaron Jones. So him coming back, Aaron Jones coming back, even up against Jacksonville, who their defense is kind of near the bottom in pretty much every statistical category. They're just not good.
Yeah.
I think getting him back is going to have way much more of an impact, especially now with Dexter Williams going on injured reserve. We don't know what the plan is going to be for Jamal Williams, even though they activated him off the COVID list. And they don't have A.J. Dillon yet either. He's still on the COVID list. So that backfield, even with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, it's still kind of thin, even with those two guys still back.
Yeah, so, Dillon is, I think, the only one who hasn't been activated off the COVID list. I know Jordan Love is activated, Kamal Martin, Aaron Jones.
Chris Barnes.
Yeah, I was about to say Chris Barnes is the one that has not. So that'll be key to see if Chris Barnes makes his way back. But, yeah, like you mentioned, the running back room, even with Jones coming back, you got to hope Jamal's back. And then you have Jones and Jamal, and then I guess Irvin. But like you said, A.J. Dillon isn't back yet. And in terms of other people who were not at practice today, we started off with some good news, but Zadarius Smith wasn't there, but it was not injury related. I don't know if that meant it was like an illness or he just wasn't at practice. Did you get any more information on that?
I didn't. I think if it was an illness, so that probably would have showed up on the injury report, and we would have known by now. I think that definitely would have leaked out.
Yeah, so Zadarius was not there, but not injury related, so hopefully nothing to worry about. Jair Alexander, though, missed practice, still dealing with the concussion he suffered in the game last week. And like Zach mentioned, Rick Wagner didn't practice with a knee injury, and Darius Shepard missed practice for unknown reasons, which is kind of strange, but I guess throughout the week.
Some of this stuff is a little suspect. I don't know what's going on over there.
I don't know. Some interesting things, but you mentioned Kamal Martin and Chris Barnes, and so Barnes isn't back yet. But let's just say when this middle linebacking group is at full strength, do you think with Kirksey, Barnes, and Martin, the Packers could actually have a low-key, pretty good middle linebacker group when it was a huge concern entering the season?
Yeah, I mean, the only problem now they have is like, who are you going to play?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, depending on which package you want to roll out. I mean, because you still got guys like Raven Green and Will Redmond when he's healthy, who can come down and play in the box, and even Adrian Amos, who can come down and play in those packages. But when they do roll with two traditional linebackers at the second level, I mean, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Barnes and Martin? Is it going to be Kirksey and Martin, Kirksey and Barnes? What's I think the beauty of that situation is you just have like those top three guys that they have right now. That brings a really nice just cap to the room, and that's not even including Ty Summers, who in limited snaps this year, when he's had to come in for injury, like he's a little shaky, but
better than we would have thought, at least for me, after last year and what we expected from him, better than what we thought. I think would be
absolutely, yeah, for a 7th round pick.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got him.
Yeah, for a guy to step into New Orleans and wear the communications helmet and kind of dictate who's going to be doing what and commandeer the defense, I mean, he did pretty well.
Yeah, that's one thing Summers is. I mean, he led that TCU defense, I think, for almost like the last 2 or 3 years that he was there, and he's good at that middle linebacker spot, calling a defense. So yeah, him as your 4th string linebacker. It's crazy how going into the year. See, I mean, are we saying we have inside line? I think we are. I think that's exactly what we're saying. After this position being a huge concern, and the Packers, kind of basically saying we don't want Patrick Queen, we're going to go for Jordan Love, and a lot of people freaking out about that. Yes, they got Kamal Martin in the 5th round, but basically, and they signed Kirksey, but let's just say it wasn't the moves people were expecting at middle linebacker. But the way we stand right now, if those 3 are healthy, I'm way more confident than I think I ever would have been at the beginning of the season. And
it just goes to show you. I mean, like, there were people, including myself, wanted Kwiatkowski, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, from the
Raiders linebacker.
Yeah.
There were a few guys in free agency that I think the Packers were even interested in, but just never kicked the
wheel. Littleton was the big one.
Corey Littleton, yeah, that was one. Yeah,
that was the big one. But yeah, he was just too much money. Truth is, I haven't heard his name the whole year.
Me either.
I haven't heard his name like a single time, not once. Anyway.
Me either. Which is crazy, and which was the point I was going to get to before I got sidetracked, thinking of trying to remember this guy's name before my dementia kicked in. It just goes to show you that these people in the front office, they know more than us. They know more than any of us, than me, you. Well, maybe not you, Eli, but
yeah.
a lot of us, people on Twitter and people in this whole reporting business and stuff, they know what they're doing. So it's like, it's so hard to just like log on to Twitter and like critique some of the things these guys are doing, in the front office and like the moves that they make. Yeah. So like I get like critiquing the draft and stuff, but I mean, like, we just got to let some of this shit play out, man. Like, I mean, Kamal Martin in the 5th round. I mean,
yeah, that's looking pretty good right now. Yeah.
It's looking really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, a lot of that draft, you can sit here and say, I can't explain it, but to be honest, outside of like signing Zadarius and Preston, and maybe aim, like, I don't know how many moves I've been able to really explain out of Goody, but for the most part, he's been able to make it work. I mean, for sure, since LaFleur's gone there over the last 2 years. And yeah, there's no doubt the jury's still out on some of his draft picks and some of the decisions he's made, but that's every GM, and you can't really base a draft. At least, the rule is, I believe, 3 years after the draft. And we're only getting to Goody's first draft now, being in their 3rd year. So I get why a lot of people might have been confused by this draft or some of the free agency moves or lack of free agency moves or lack of trades a couple weeks ago. Like you said, they know a lot more than us. And even if it's frustrating at times, we just have to trust that they know what they're doing. So yeah, for now, I'll be okay with how Goody's handling things. But yeah, this is a good point. I was about to bring up this tweet from Rob Demoski, who obviously covers the Packers for ESPN. So here are ESPN's pass block win rate percentages across the Packers offensive line. Corey Linsley, 96.6, is number 3 at center. Billy Turner, 96.1, is number 2 at tackle. Elton Jenkins, 94.9, is number 7 at guard. Lucas Patrick, 94.5, number 10 at guard, and David Bakhtiari, 94.1, number 6 at tackle. And then even Rick Wagner has a 90.3 grade, number 21 at tackle. So all 6 players across this line have been phenomenal, really, the whole year. Like you said, Rodgers has been sacked 9 times. If he goes on this pace and gets sacked 18 times in 16 games, forget breaking any records that Rodgers has been. I don't know how many QBs have ever been sacked that little. I think Peyton Manning got sacked once, 15 times in a season. But I don't remember seeing a lot of QBs being sacked under 20 times. So, yeah, not B-roll. You make a great point. This offensive line has been phenomenal. And I'm trying to think. I think Jacob West, I think it was Jacob who wrote an article for Packer Report discussing the Packers' offensive line being their MVP this far this season. And you can make the argument, the run game has been effective. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been touched, which has obviously led to a ton of production from him and the passing game. So, Zach, could you make the argument that this offensive line has under the radar been the MVP for this team right now?
I'm the one who did that story, by the way.
Oh, I suck. It was you? Why did I think it was Jacob? I was like, the name is...
Well, Jacob might have done a different story, but I did do a story the morning after the 49ers game.
Oh, so it's definitely Well, I don't know. I just saw one
I know. It's fine.
Now look, clearly I don't pay close enough attention. I'm a terrible co-host.
But no, you.
Oh, you know what? It was actually Jimmy Christensen. So you know what? I really suck. It wasn't either of you. Jimmy posted this yesterday. Packers' real MVP is the offensive line. So I guess he got 3 articles on Packer Report discussing the offensive line.
Oh, so he stole the story from me and then wrote about it. Oh, see, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you can definitely make the case. I mean, when we were coming into this season, a lot of us kind of questioned whether it was a good idea letting Brian Bulaga go. And now he's kind of, I don't want to say he's an afterthought because I love Brian Bulaga, Iowa.
Yeah.
But he's struggled with injuries in Los Angeles. He's been Parker Most Energy. I didn't want to say that. But, he's been dealing with injuries in Los Angeles, and he hasn't been the same force. It's almost like the Packers kind of know, when to let certain players go. We saw it with Mike Daniels, TJ Lang, and now we see it kind of
it's pretty crazy that they have had some, I don't know if it's luck or if they could see it, but they have had some pretty phenomenal luck when it comes to letting guys go and pretty quickly getting hurt. Yeah. Zach's been good so far. You can stick around for now.
If anything, I'm the one being hurt today.
Eli, I'm the defensive one to both Zach and to Jacob, and I guess to Jimmy and to everyone involved. I just know nothing, clearly, but... Yeah,
Eli's just on a rampage right now.
Yeah. Only exception to that is Charles Woodson. Only exception to what? Bringing someone in? Or
knowing when to let them go, I think he means.
Oh. Well, yeah. But I think, I was pretty disappointed when they let him go. But it made sense for him to finish his career in Oakland. So,
I mean, I tweeted yesterday or 2 days ago, the only quarterback that's been sacked less to start every game is Phillip Rivers. And he's been sacked 7 times to Aaron Rodgers 9. And I think his line has been intact every single game this year, all 5 starters. And you look what the Packers have been doing. They've been plugging in John Runyon. They've been flipping Elton Jenkins to various positions. He played 3 against the 49ers.
Yeah.
And Rick Wagner has stepped in. Billy Turner's been moving all over the place. I think Corey Linsley is the only guy that's been staying in one position the entire year. And that's not to say that, if they ever had to, maybe moving to guard. Yeah,
I would have full confidence in Linsley at guard.
They could do it.
He's a stud, and you know what? We've spoke about this before, and I think we were both in the same headspace that it was. A lot of people said Linsley, there's no way he's going to be able to be re-signed, and we were both like, how much does centers really cost? But the way he's playing right now, he needs to be a priority along with Bakhtiari. I get that center to a lot of people isn't the most important position on the line, but it's behind left tackle, probably the second to most important. You are, the coach of your offensive line. You're reading the blitzes, getting everyone's protection set correctly. And Lindsley's just a stud. He doesn't get hurt. He's been doing his job week in and week out from the day we drafted him. He came in week 1, 2014. You know, his first game ever was against the Seahawks when they were the best defense in the league. And he played good, and he's been good since then. So I really, 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 really hope the Packers find a way to bring back Lindsley, because I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NFL.
Yeah, and you look at just the consistency and the fluidity that Aaron Rodgers has had with the guys at center. I mean, for all of his career, he had Scott Wells, then he went to Jeff Saturday, and then very briefly he had Evan Smith.
He was good, yeah.
And then went right to Corey Linsley. It's been Corey Linsley ever since.
Yeah.
You know, that's been the guy. So, I mean, you kind of want that consistency and that relationship, like not B-roll here mentions, it's so important between a quarterback and a center. You got to be able to trust that guy. Just everything that Linsley has done this year and that whole unit up front and protecting him. Obviously, it helps getting the ball out fast, which is just a staple of Matt LaFleur's offense. But just what they've been able to do in protecting him and just also paving the way in the running game as well, which kind of goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
It's a testament to what their O-line coach, which answers his question as well, Adam Stenavich and their assistant.
Adam Stenavich, yeah.
And Luke Butkus.
He was a little key. You know, when they brought him in from the 49ers, I think a lot of people were surprised by it, didn't have a ton of experience, but he has clearly proven himself to be pretty legit as an O-line coach, Stenavich. And that was coming, I believe, off Jason Kampman, right? Who was terrific. He went to the Browns, unless I'm totally
James Kampman. I thought you said Jason Kampman, and then I was like, Jason Kampman, Aaron Kampman.
Yeah, that's I got Aaron Kampman and James Kampman. You know what I'm saying. He was a good offensive line coach. A lot of people were nervous when he left, but Stenavich has definitely stood in and been good. But we didn't really talk a lot about the specifics of Thursday night, and I think there are two that really stick out to me. So, first off, you have Davante Adams, who's just, I mean, is it fair to say he's the best receiver in the NFL? I mean, like, I know you have guys that are physical freaks like Hopkins and Julio, but when you take the whole package, the route running, the way he scores touchdowns, which you can't say for Julio. Hopkins, maybe. You for sure can't say for Julio. And then even Tyreek Hill, he's faster than anybody we've ever seen, but is he a better receiver? Like, is he a better route runner than Davante Adams? I say absolutely not. He just separates by speed. So, in my opinion, I mean, Davante Adams, I could be wrong, but I believe he leads the NFL in every single major wide receiving category other than yards, because he's missed 2.5 games and had his bye. And he's the number one fantasy wide receiver with missing 2.5 games and having his bye. So how could you say he's not the best receiver? 5 games, 8 touchdowns.
Look, I love Davante Adams. I'm not ready to anoint him as the number one yet. I feel like we've transitioned from the whole, oh my God, he's top 5. No, he's not. You can't argue him in the top 5. He is. I think we've transitioned too quickly from that to trying to argue him as being the number one. What he's doing right now is worthy of being a top 5 receiver. You could say, like, right now, yeah, he's playing as the number one receiver in football. But to me, I still think it's DeAndre Hopkins, just because he's been doing this. He's been healthy. He's just been doing this more consistently, I should say. And he's been doing it with
awful quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely. And I just think you have to take something like that into account. I think, they're two very similar players. And like you said, Hopkins, he wins with like just speed, but he also has that, he fixates that so perfectly into his routes.
Yeah.
Just some of the things he does in his routes. He's just a very, very fluid wide receiver. And I still think he's number one right now at the top. But behind him, though, that runner up, that's Davante Adams.
Yeah.
So I don't think necessarily calling him, the number 2. I don't think necessarily that's really like a huge, indictment on him or anything. But did I say that right?
Indictment, I think.
Indictment.
Yeah, indictment. I don't know. It didn't seem to roll off the tongue. I'm like, indictment. That doesn't sound.
Wait, what the hell did I just say?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with indictment on that. But no, but I will agree that, like, Davante Adams, he does have his physical limitations. Number one, the breakaway speed. He doesn't really have it. Yeah, indictment. That's gonna be an open book tradition here.
Great.
Yes, Watson is going to. We were talking obviously the years before Watson got there, and he was still dominant. But
Yeah, like he was playing with Brock Osweiler for a little while.
He was playing, with Osweiler and Tom Savage and whatever, a whole crew of bad players. But I will agree that to an extent, guys like Julio and Hopkins specifically have just this physical nature about them that is almost supernatural, and it's just freaky. And you could maybe say they're more talented. But obviously having Aaron Rodgers and this whole offense catering around Devontae, it's going to inflate his stats and make him look really good. Not to, that's not an indictment on him, but
so you got jokes now?
Jokes now. This is a weekly show. It's open book / indictment show. But either way, Devontae Adams is playing out of his mind. But another receiver on the Packers had a pretty damn good game himself, Mr. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We've said this probably about 2 or 3 times this year, where he has these big games and then he disappears and he drops it. And I mean, Zach, right now we are halfway through the season. Can you realistically say that your opinion has changed on MVS? Do you think he's now become maybe more reliable, or is he still just going to be a boomer bust on a weekly basis?
You know what? No. My opinion really hasn't changed on him at all. I mean, this is what he is when we were talking about it before the season.
Yeah.
He's just not stable, not like mentally, he's not like, he's not ill or anything like that, but he deals with like confidence issues. He kind of he gets in his own head sometimes.
The touchdowns he made, both of them, as open as he was, it was awkward. It was like he wasn't sure of himself, how to catch it. The deep ball, I mean, you cradle that in your chest. Jody Nelson makes that play look smooth as hell. MVS kind of turns around, catches it with his fingertips.
Like
Same thing with the one in the
top fly or something. Like he's in the outfield.
Yeah, like baseball. Yeah, just go like this. Rodgers put it right in your bread basket, and you walk in the end zone. Look, he caught it, but it was a bit awkward looking.
Yeah, it's just I really don't know just how to gauge him, but at the same time, I think this is kind of like the best the Packers are going to get right now behind Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard when he does come back. Those big plays I think are worth the occasional drop when he does kind of deal with those mental ailments and he does kind of drop a third down pass here and there. It's as frustrating as it is sometimes. I will gladly take one of those if it means he's going to come back and catch 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And like that, like the touchdown that we're going to show in a little bit during the whole film segment.
Yeah.
That showed me that Aaron Rodgers is trusting him, and we'll get into that obviously, but it shows that trust is developing and that, he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. So there's still an opportunity for him to grow. He's just a very, very confusing receiver to evaluate.
Yeah, it seems like he really is someone that confidence is key for him, and that could get in a receiver's head. We saw it with Devontae early in his career. I mean, we've talked about it before, the amount of Janice over Devontae, cut Devontae, trade Devontae. You know what? Sometimes it takes a little bit to get that confidence, and then once you build it with Aaron Rodgers, you don't lose it because you know who you're catching passes from, and it's never really going to be that difficult. He's going to make it as easy as possible for you. It's just about doing your job, which is catching the ball, and hopefully MVS can do that. But, you said not much change for MVS, and that kind of goes for the whole team. I want to ask you, how much can we really take away from this game, considering who they played? And Nick Mullins, everyone all over, COVID, injuries. I mean, let's be real. We played a B squad / practice squad at best. So how much are you really taking out of this win?
Well, it's like Devontae Adams says, they're eating what's in front of them.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't make their schedule and they don't determine the circumstances.
They've dealt with their own injuries for sure. So it's not like they've got an easy luck.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like they're out there just taking advantage of another team that's just been riddled by all these, these very unlucky. Very.
We almost didn't have a backfield until an hour before the game when Jones was activated. We were about to go in with guys who have a combined 15 carries in their career.
5 for Dexter and 10 for Irvin. Yeah. So, yeah, the Packers, they were dealing with their own issues too. Teams across the league are dealing with these types of things. And the 49ers, they still had Kyle Shanahan. They still had Nick Mullins, who I still think, very quietly, is still better than Jimmy Garoppolo. But that's a conversation for another day.
The numbers show it also, just by the way. But
yeah, just for the record.
Yeah.
They still had a dynamic backfield that Kyle Shanahan can take full advantage of. And they also still had a pretty good defense. I know they didn't have Nick Bosa, they didn't have D Ford, no Richard Sherman. I get it. They still had Tariq Armstead, Javon Kinlaw. They still had Jason Verrett, Fred Warner at the second level. They still had a pretty good defense that Aaron Rodgers had to go up against. Yeah. And he violated them pretty much.
He torched them as good as it. I mean, let's be real. I know the score ended up being closer than it ever really was, but I don't care who they were playing. I think this mentally for the Packers to get on that plane, go to Santa Clara, go to San Francisco, go to that same guest locker room where you suffer 2 brutal losses, and to come out with not just a win, but a big win. It doesn't matter who you're playing. I think that's a real confidence builder for a team. To get over that hump where this team kicked our ass brutally twice last year, and now we came to their house again and we kicked their ass, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, and Zadarius Smith even said that in his post-game press conference. He said when they got off the buses, in Santa Clara, those memories came flooding back from January. When they got destroyed, they got wiped across the field. And it was his job to kind of hype everybody up, kind of get them past that. A lot of the members of the team weren't there at that point, but still, a lot of guys were, and that's something that sticks with you when you get destroyed like that on that kind of stage. You're 4 quarters away from getting back to a Super Bowl. That really sticks with you. So, yeah, mentally, as you said, dealing with all this COVID bullshit, and to go back to the West Coast where you went 0 for 3 last year and beat the team that slaughtered you twice. Yeah, I mean, that's huge, regardless of what team they're rolling out.
Exactly. No, it's a big win for them. And I think overall, just like we said before, the Packers always seem to have a team they can get past. And even with who they fielded on Thursday night, the 49ers, I feel like it was kind of, okay, the Packers got that monkey off their back of the 49ers. And we've said it before ourselves, with the Packers dealing with all the injuries they've had, a LaFleur, Shanahan, that style McVay offense, when running right, the personnel isn't all that important. And I think the fact that the defense was able to, for the most part, shut them out completely. I mean, they scored a field goal on the opening drive, and they didn't score again until I think about 4 or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter when the game was far out of hand. So it just goes to show you that it didn't matter that Kyle Shanahan was coaching and he has the great scheme and the great play calling and the tricks. This Packers defense knew what they were doing, knew what to key on, and they made the plays they had to. So overall, really happy about the win. And Zach, the last 2 weeks, we ended the show with the film session because we had some guests. But I think let's dive into the film session now, and then we'll finish it off with the Jaguars preview. What do you think?
Sounds good to me, man. Let's do it.
All right, so guys, for the 3rd consecutive week, and we're going to be doing this every week, we're going to break down a couple plays, coaches' film, and just kind of show you why the plays worked and how LaFleur got it done. So we're going to start with the Mercedes Lewis touchdown at the goal line, because this is as easy a touchdown as you'll ever see. So first I'm going to play you the clip, watch the clip, and then we'll get into more in depth. But here's Mercedes by the red arrow. Okay, he's lined up right there as a blocker. Boom, slips out, easy touchdown. Again, we're going to go over this in slow-mo. But again, watch where he is. 1st and goal, by the way. Keep that in mind. 1st and goal, everyone's expecting run. Mercedes Lewis, wide open touchdown. So now let's slow that down a bit and see what happens here, okay? You have, I am trying to pull this up. Okay, here, look. And so here he is, Mercedes Lewis in the same spot. Watch the slow-mo here. Watch the second level of this defense collapse on the play action and the motion by MVS. Here we go. Pause. The two middle linebackers are staring into MVS at that motion, and you have number 41 coming across, and boom, Mercedes Lewis slips out for an easy touchdown. Again, this is Fred Warner, good linebackers, a good secondary. You have number 41 following MVS across the whole formation. Look how deep these guys came in. They started in the end zone. Now they're at the 1 yard line, out of position. Mercedes Lewis completely wide open. Boom, touchdown. So I hope that was clear enough for everyone. But the bottom line is you had MVS with the motion behind. It drew the defense in, and you had the play action to Aaron Jones. And again, this is first and goal. You would expect a run with Aaron Jones on first and goal. Play action. It sucked the linebackers in, including the one blitzing on Mercedes Lewis. Lewis did a vet move. You do the quick chip, and you turn around, wide open touchdown. So, Zach, once again, we are featuring a goal line touchdown for the Packers for the third straight week, because in the beginning of the year they were struggling, and now it looks like they've got it figured out pretty well. What did you see on that play and from LaFleur overall in the red zone over the last couple of weeks that's given you confidence moving forward?
Just more creativity, more motion. They're getting more guys moved around to kind of exploit some of these mismatches. I mean, in this instance, Mercedes Lewis is the perfect guy for that.
Yeah.
Because, you think they're going to run it. Like you said, it's a first and goal situation. You think they're going to get it off, give it to Aaron Jones, the touchdown later a season ago, easy score. But no, you get the end around with MVS. You're going to get that motion with him. And then that chip with Mercedes Lewis, like that's the perfect guy. And like Janelle says, another touchdown to a first-round pick.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw today's Aaron Rodgers press conference. So the Packers have played, I believe, only 3 home games this year. The first one, Aaron Jones had 3 touchdowns. The second one, Robert Tonyan had 3 touchdowns. The third one, Devontae had 3 touchdowns. So Rodgers was asked, who do you want to see go and get 3 touchdowns this week? And, of course, it was Big Dog. He said there's no one he gets as much pleasure seeing catching a touchdown than Mercedes Lewis. So anyone playing DFS in deep fantasy leagues, you want to get real crazy, throw Big Dog in there. Mercedes Lewis, you might get a touchdown or 2.
And I'm an idiot too, because on that play when I was watching on the broadcast, I thought MVS was Aaron Jones when I was live tweeting it. I thought that end round was MVS, and I also thought he was wide open. I didn't see 41 come over and take him.
Yeah, he was covering him across. Yeah,
I didn't see that when I was watching the broadcast, so I made the mistake of tweeting that Aaron Jones, not MVS, was Richard Rodgers in Minnesota in 2014, wide open,
where he threw it across the field.
Yes.
Yeah,
that wide open Richard Rodgers.
That is the sexiest 1 yard touchdown throw you're ever going to see. I mean, I think I did the math once and put it on Twitter. I believe it was about 45 or 47 yards, and this ball was snapped at the 1 yard line, and Rodgers threw it 47 yards for a touchdown. It's great.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen like similar to that I can think of right now is actually maybe I shouldn't mention it.
I think you're about to say something involving someone on the Seahawks, and I don't want to hear about it. If it's Russell Wilson.
Definitely not Russell Wilson in the NFC Championship game on a 2-point conversion. No, definitely not that.
That was very painful. I'm assuming against the Packers, right?
Oh, no, I was being sarcastic. That was what I was going to say.
No, I was like thinking in my head, what awful memories am I forgetting about right now? But yeah, so the Packers have been more effective at the goal line, which was an early season struggle. So I'm really happy with that. And now let's take a look at that MVS deep touchdown. So there's a lot to break down in this play. And first, I want to show you what created MVS being wide open, and then we'll get to MVS. So I'm going to start it right here. Look, this is Jay Sternberger by the red arrow. Watch the route he takes here as he does a cross over the middle, bringing the safety down. He brings that safety down, boom, MVS over the top. We're going to slow it down in a second. But so you have Sternberger going over the middle. Now watch Aaron Rodgers' eyes. Okay, he knows he has MVS going deep. Watch Aaron Rodgers right here as Sternberger crosses, and boom, Rodgers is staring down Sternberger, knowing that MVS has one-on-one over the top. Boom, turns his head back downfield, unleashes a bomb right on the money, basically off his back foot. Now we're going to get to the MVS part. Look at this route by MVS. The catching might be awkward, but look at this route. Boom, boom, out and in. That's Jordy-esque if I've ever seen it. You're not stopping that route in that offense. So that was a bit quick. I hope everyone got it. I could quickly play it again, Zach, if you think it would be helpful. But I think the Jay Sternberger crossing forced the second safety to come down because Rodgers was eyeing Sternberger, knowing he was going deep the whole time. And that just gave MVS wide open field down the middle. And he ran a very, very nice route.
Yeah, and Rodgers said after the game that he didn't actually see MVS get free down the field behind the defense. Like he wasn't actually staring him down. Like you said, he was watching Sternberger. He was watching, making sure that side of the field, that X receiver specifically, like on that left side, everything was drawn towards that side of the field, which means that safety would come down, as you mentioned, and Rodgers would have MVS in a one-on-one situation, in which case he would trust MVS's speed. That's what he said in the press conference. So that was pretty much what he did. He just heaved that one up, and he just trusted the speed of MVS. And I think that just goes to show you that there's an opportunity there for Valdez-Scantling to really develop with Aaron Rodgers and for him to really kind of like gain more of his trust by the week. You know, it's just a matter of him getting out of his own head and making more plays like that. Yeah. You know, just that minor play right there, like that tells you so much. Yeah, he threw it to a spot. Can't train speed.
But that route, speed alone wasn't getting him open. That was a nice, out and up to the post. And look, MVS, we keep saying it, he's a key for this offense. We don't need him catching 6-8 balls a game. If he can catch 2 to 4 balls a game, but they're impact plays, they're 20-plus yard plays, potentially, a 40-yard touchdown bomb, and it's on occasion. But then you have Devontae and Allen Lazard and Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and all the tight ends. That becomes impossible to defend because, like you said, MVS, he has undeniable speed. And if he's that wide open, even though we have seen him drop it in the past, I don't think he's going to continue to have wide open drops. He just can't. He's progressing as a player. Rodgers is putting the ball right on the money. So MVS continues to be a key for this offense to really, really break it up over the top.
Yeah, and regardless of his speed or not, that route definitely shouldn't go unnoticed because that was a very, very, very nice route. And, we've seen flashes of improved route running from him throughout this year.
The last few weeks, that his catching is risky, but his route running has improved.
Yeah, definitely. And even most notably a couple weeks ago against the Vikings.
Vikings, was it? Okay.
It was against the Vikings. Yeah, that play that got called back is the DPI in the end zone. Rodgers threw it to the right corner. He was on the run.
He would have been wide open. Yeah, it was a good route.
He was wide open, because of a beautiful route. And if he didn't get dragged down, that would have been a touchdown. It's just flashes like that we've seen from him. It's just getting those hands together on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think MVS, he just has to get it together. Hopefully, we're going to have Lazard back soon. So like I said, we don't need to rely on him a ton per game. But when you have that chance, you have to take advantage of it because you are the real, like Devontae Adams could beat someone deep. Lazard could beat someone deep. But we can both talk right now, even over the last few weeks, both Lazard and Adams have had deep shots that ended not in touchdowns. Like Lazard had the one versus the Saints where I feel like 9 out of 10 NFL receivers score that deep post route. He got tackled at like the 5. And then you have Devontae, who seems to always get caught from behind when he beats someone on a straight, fly route. So if MVS can do that, it will be really big for this offense. But that was. Do you have anything else? Any keynotes from the 49ers game before we move on to the Jags? Anyone I'm missing? Any big performances?
Here, I'll give you a segue. And if MVS and Devontae are going to have a great game this week against the Jaguars, porous pass defense would be the great week to do it.
Yeah, it sure would. It's a great segue. You are one of the kind, Zach. No, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, and it's similar to last week because of the team that the 49ers fielded, but obviously the Packers are heavily favored in this game. And once again, I don't want I don't want to just see a win. I want to see basically, yeah, I think a lot of people are in that group. But no, but I want to see another dominant win. Look, but you're playing a 1-7 team and you're 6-2. I don't care if Jake Luton showed some interesting flashes last week. I don't care if James Robinson, the undrafted rookie, has been better than anyone could have expected. The defense is bad. The offensive line is bad. They basically have one receiving option, and hopefully if Jair is back, DJ Chark should be basically removed from this game. So all you got to worry about is Keelan Cole and stopping James Robinson. So AKA stop James Robinson, and you should win this game. So if I'm Mike Pettin, stacking the box, 5 men at the line, that means 3 men, hands in the ground, 2 men on the edge, 2 in the middle, 4 in the back. And trust your secondary. Bring blitzes. And I said it last year, and I keep repeating it, but when the Packers played Trubisky, Haskins, Daniel Jones, and Kyle Allen 4 straight weeks, 4 bad, young, inexperienced QBs, they did not blitz them. In fact, the Packers had, I think, the 29th ranked blitz rate those 4 weeks. It's like, when is there a better time to blitz against a young, inexperienced quarterback who isn't very good and force him to make throws on the run, hit him, get him off his spot, and eventually force turnovers? I mean, if I see 3-man rushes or even 4-man rushes for 80+% of this game out of Pettin, I'm going to be dumbfounded because that's not what you do against Jake Luton and his complete inexperience, and his name sounds like Luton, which I just realized when you say it fast. Jake Luton. It is what it is. But yeah, what do you think about what the defense needs to do to just shut it down early?
No, I mean I'm with you. Oh, hey, hello Brazil. What is up, Brazil?
We got Brazil in the house. Tulio, thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you every week, and we love everyone out in Brazil carrying the G. There's actually a ton of following on my page from Brazil, Packer fans. They are legit down there in Brazil for the Packers.
Dude, Brazil, the UK, Ireland, they're everywhere.
Everyone follows the Packers, but we always love to see international followers. So thank you, Tulio, for checking in.
Last week was Jake Luton's first start, and I think he passed for over 300 yards, threw a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. He had a pretty good game against the Texans.
Yeah,
but this is going to be the first week where he's going up against a team that has actual, real NFL film on him.
Yeah, that's key for me.
Yeah, a team who is going to be able to kind of key in on his tendencies and know what he's going to bring to the table. So if you're an experienced coordinator like Mike Pettin and you have guys like Jair Alexander, assuming he's out of concussion protocol by then, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And you have someone like Kevin King who, fingers crossed, I mean, he practiced on a limited basis today. Hopefully his quad is all healed up. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't follow the Packers. Just always follow Zach. Definitely.
I don't recommend it, but thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You have pieces on your defense to stop guys like this and an inexperienced quarterback. This is your second week in a row going up against a backup. And when you're presented with these types of circumstances, you should go 2-0.
Yeah.
No, that's not my burner. I swear to God. Come on, my phone is right here. How can I be tweeting?
Yeah, that would be insane multitasking and very impressive because I can't do that.
I'm talented, but I'm not that talented. And no, really, everything you said, just load up the box and kind of do whatever you can to stop James Robinson because he's been this undrafted just spectacle that has just kind of really put the league on notice. I mean, one of the dudes in my fantasy league has him. He's just like tearing everybody up on a weekly basis.
Leagues, I'm so happy. I was like, there's no way this guy's gonna be good on the Jags, but I might as well try. And he has saved my season. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, you got lucky. But yeah, and you really don't have to worry about DJ Chark. He's great, but if you have Alexander back in the lineup, then that's just one side of the field that you don't really have to worry about. Yeah, you got Keenan Cole, you got Chris Conley. Those are still a couple pretty good options. But
Westbrook's out, right? I haven't seen him in like weeks. Is D.D. Westbrook still playing?
didn't he? Is he still with the Jaguars?
I know he's on the Jaguars, but I think he's been hurt. I'll check right now, but continue.
Yeah, please. I know he's been out for a while.
Yeah, no, he's on injured reserve. Yeah, no, he tore his ACL. Very unfortunate.
Oh shit. Okay.
He just last week, actually. I didn't even know that. Wow. Wish you a speedy recovery, Didi.
Yeah, I know their top three guys are Cole, Conley, and Chark, but yeah, no, defensively that's the plan. Just early, stack the box, and trust your pressure too to really knock this Jake Luton. The hell?
Yeah, Jake Luton. It's
yeah,
a rough name off the tongue for sure.
Yeah, just make him comfortable. Knock him off his pedestal a little bit. He's coming off a good game. I mean, he almost led the Jaguars back into it. If they got that 2-point conversion, they would have probably sent the game into overtime. So he's riding a little bit of a high right now. If he goes against this defense and you go into the game early with your horns pointed forward and you just kind of really get to him early and just rattle him a little bit, that's going to just really set the tone for the rest of the game. So, yeah, stop the run, but at the same time, you need to rattle this guy a little bit. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I don't know if I mentioned this theory on Open Book before. I know I've definitely said it on some other podcasts, but I've always had this theory. I mostly apply it to fantasy, but also just in life. I don't know why, whether it's a rookie QB or a backup QB, whether they're thrust into their first career action or thrown in as a backup in the middle of a game, and they have a really good performance, even if it's a loss, but they just have a surprisingly good performance. For whatever reason, the following week isn't just bad. It's usually awful. Like, I could name a few off the top of my head. I mean, you had last year, Daniel Jones' first start against the Bucs. He had like 50 fantasy points. The next week, I think he threw like 3 picks, had like 100 yards. This year, it was someone came in the middle of a game. Maybe it's Justin Herbert, whoever it was. It happens. Like, I've been tracking this like a lot. That like this is like my theory that in your second start after a surprise start, you usually suck, because I think whether it's the other team getting your film or you're riding off that high and then you kind of get thrown back into reality and you just kind of panic. But I think all that's going to start with bringing in pressure, because the Texans really didn't do that a lot. And if you could pressure him, he doesn't have enough experience to be able to get to a second and third read and make a throw on the run. So Za'Darius, Preston, Kenny Clark, safety blitzes, whatever Pettine has to do, just get to the QB, and that should really be it. Because if the Packers take a big enough lead early, which we would hope and expect, the Jaguars won't be able to feed the ball 25-plus times to Robinson. If you force Luton to beat you and then blitz 5+ men on almost every play, I think this game's over at half.
I think you're right about that theory, because, I mean, it makes sense. I've kind of noticed a little bit of a trend like that. I mean, you see guys come in, they get a surprise start, or if it's not a start, they come in kind of like, at some point during a game and they
whatever,
yeah, and they play really well. And everyone's like, "Oh my God! They found their next starter. They found the guy of the future. Could this be it?" And people start making hype videos, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the guy. He's gonna save the franchise." And then,
I mean, even look at Nick Foles this year. He came in versus Atlanta, had that crazy comeback, and then the following week he was total garbage. I mean, and this is a proven backup.
Teams get acclimated. They adjust.
That's really why. I mean, look at the Packers, let's say, even if you want to, we're jumping back 10 years. But you know what? When we were in the NFC Championship game versus the Bears, they would have been better off if Jay Cutler stayed in that game than Caleb Haney getting thrown in, because they have no tape on him. They don't know what to expect. And I guarantee you, after Haney had a pretty good performance, albeit the 2 picks, one to B.J. Raji, love you, B.J., amazing play, pick 6. But Caleb Haney, for what everyone would have expected out of Caleb Haney, he had a good game. And I'd be willing to bet if that was a regular season, his next game, whoever he played the following week, would probably tear him apart, because you would get that 2 quarters of film on him. You would realize what he's good at, not good at, and then hopefully take advantage of it. And I really hope Pettine does that to Luton, because Pettine, you've been around the game for 30 plus years. If you can't make a rookie QB in his second start uncomfortable, then that's concerning to me.
We're talking all this shit, but he's gonna drop 400 yards on this defense.
He really, really better not. That'd be so depressing. But how do I make that beer last an hour? Well, I'll be honest with you. I learned a great lesson from Perry and Maggie over at Happy Hour, where you have your backup beer hidden so the viewers don't know as you switch it mid-show to your second beer. But, when you keep the Packers logo on, it's all misdirection. Like Matt LaFleur, it's the illusion of complexity. That's all I'm doing.
So you just exposed not only yourself, but you exposed Maggie and Perry.
Well, no, Perry announced it on her show, and I was like, that's a good idea. So I always have a second beer tucked behind my camera, and I do a quick, sleight of hand while no one's paying attention, and boom, I'm 2 beers in. So, no, you can't make one beer last an hour unless you're sleeping. It just doesn't work.
So that's what you're doing while I'm talking? You're switching out beers?
What? No, okay. I've become very proficient in the switching out of beers, but yeah, Jen brings up a good point.
Oh, yeah, Jordy caught his first touchdown after the ACL. Yeah.
I'm shocked you even remembered such a wonderful Jordy memory, but yes, Jordy Nelson, after tearing his ACL in 2015 versus the Jags, week 1, 2016, caught his first touchdown. Highly emotional for everyone involved. But Zach, before we close out the show, let's hear a score prediction out of you for this game, and maybe a quick underrated player, either offense, defense, or special teams to keep an eye on.
Packers win 42-20.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jaguars only scored 20 because
you hiding your eyes from the comment section right now?
Yeah. They only scored 20 because they scored maybe 10 garbage time points, but
yeah,
I can't see their offense really doing much. But an underrated player that I think is going to have a pretty good game is Tyler Ervin. I think they get him a little more involved in the receiving game. I don't know if Alan Lazard is going to be back for this game. I don't know if they activate him on the Saturday, 24 hours before or what. I don't know what the plan is. Maybe they rest him for another week. I don't know. Or actually, no, I think the deadline is coming up pretty soon, actually. Because once they designate him to return, there's a 21-day window to activate him to the roster. And they designated. What was that?
When did they designate him?
Either on the 24th or the 28th of October.
Oh, so they got to do that this week.
I think this is the last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if he doesn't play a lot, I would expect him to be activated. But you're saying low-key Tyler Ervin. Is that a bit of a revenge game narrative for you?
Yes.
Yes. So I was going to go with Mercedes Lewis. I mean, first time playing the Jags in his whole career, I believe. Yeah, should be. First time playing his former team of 16 years. First time in his career. And I'm going to give him, after Aaron Rodgers saying he wants to get him 3 touchdowns, do I expect that? I don't think so. But I think Mercedes Lewis does more than maybe catch a goal line touchdown. Maybe he has 3 to 5 catches, 40 to 50 yards, and hopefully gets in the end zone. And Zach, you went 42-20. Last night on the Split Division podcast, I did 45-20, and I'm going to stick with it. I think the Packers. Yeah, I think the Packers stick it to them right now. We're on a hot streak. We're playing a bad team with an inexperienced quarterback, and we're becoming finally full strength. There's no reason this game should even be remotely close.
I was gonna pick Mercedes Lewis as player who's gonna have a big game, but I remember you mentioned earlier that he was gonna, the whole Rodgers press conference thing. So I had a feeling you were gonna mention him. I didn't want to steal him from you. That's me being a considerate co-host. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach. See, unlike me, who forgets his articles, Zach is very considerate and remembers my feelings. But we also have Alan Lazard and Nathaniel Hackett, little revenge games. A lot of Jaguars-Packers connections, which you would not think, considering how rarely they play. But, so there you have it. We both have Packers winning big this week, coming off a big win versus the Niners. I don't care who we were playing. It was a momentum builder for sure for this locker room. And we're at week 10 of football, Zach. So that kind of is very depressing because I feel like it just started. But I'll take it with the Packers being 6-2 and atop the NFC North.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on.
Yeah, we're waiting.
To be 6-2 right now, Eli, with the injuries we've had and the circumstances, feels really good. We're going to relax and not get complacent. We've got a tough road ahead of us and some big dreams down the line.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, people.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. No, look, I love that last line. Big dreams down the line, because this team knows anything short of a Lombardi trophy is a disappointment. I don't care what you say. We could be great. We could be average. It doesn't matter. It's the Packers. It's Aaron Rodgers. And we're always going for a Super Bowl. And right now we're looking pretty good. And I am looking forward, hopefully, to a pretty stress-free Sunday. And we need to know, Zach, is that your best Aaron Rodgers impression?
No. I wasn't even trying to be. If I want to talk like
It was just more of a.
If I want to talk like Aaron Rodgers, I'd probably talk like this.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try because that would probably be very embarrassing. But everybody who tuned in, we really appreciate it. Real quick before we go, obviously follow Game On Wisconsin at Game On WI on Twitter. You can find Zach at It's Zachariah J on Twitter, and you can find myself at Book of Eli _NFL. Again, thank you all who tuned in, and we'll see you next week, hopefully after a Packers victory, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Blitz. Rodgers gets out. Throws it. Cobb. Touchdown.
Rams are awfully quiet.
Rodgers surveying, fires. That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago.